FUTV, we are live. Hello everybody, welcome back to another show, another video. Please get into the comment section. We are talking why last night was the straw that broke the camel's back with a lot of Manchester United fans and their opinions of Ruben Amorim. Last night I gave my opinion on what was a horrible night for Manchester United and a ridiculously poor performance from this team yet again under Ruben Amorim. But the reaction from the Man United fan base last night was different to anything that I've seen so far under Ruben Amorim. And there has been some absolute stinkers from Manchester United. I'm going to go into all the details, what everybody said after the game, the reports on Ruben Amorim and what he said and why he is really concerning a lot of Manchester United fans now. Your chance to have your say. There are a lot of people that are fed up. They don't want him out. So one thing I will say for certain though is the people that were against Ruben Amorim before last night seem to be the happier and more content people this morning, it would seem. And last night anyway. It's like they'd already given up on Ruben Amorim. The people fighting for him are struggling right now. They are struggling. They want to back a manager. They don't want to see a manager given the boot. But it's getting to a point now where it's impossible to defend the decisions and what Ruben Amorim is saying. We're going to get into that this morning. I want your opinions on this because there's a lot to talk about. We've also got updates, as you can see, going across the bottom of your screen. A big transfer update from Fabrizio Romano this morning with Napoli officially confirming that Rasmus Højlund will be a permanent Napoli player at the end of the season, which means €50 million plus for Manchester United in the bank. So good news there. Again, though, it's where Manchester United spend the money because the player that came in, obviously, for Rasmus Højlund is performing probably worse than Rasmus Højlund right now on paper. I like what Sesko does. I like what he does on the pitch. I think he offers a little bit more than Rasmus Højlund does, but people are going to judge him on goals. And this is the problem for Manchester United. And last night's performance, you could go into several different individual players that are struggling to play under Ruben Amorim. And I think this is where the fans are at now. I think we're at a point where it's halfway through the season. It doesn't seem to be changing in a way of Manchester United actually being able to do what we've struggled with for ages now under Ruben Amorim, which is beat the smaller teams. And as long as them games are coming up and we've run out of bigger games to play, we're always going to be in this position. We've got Wolves, we've got Leeds, we've got Burnley. These were the games that Manchester United needed to win. We can stand out and get the result against the Newcastle, but why can't we do it against the smaller teams? And especially at Old Trafford. We're going to get into what Ruben Amorim said last night afterwards, because this is where I think a lot of Manchester United fans are losing the plot today. And I'm just gauging where this fan base is at last night. I read a lot of people's thoughts. I listened to a lot last night and what people were saying. And it does feel like they've given up on Ruben. And why last night was so important for these Man United fans in terms of their opinions on Ruben, I think it was quite clear, to be honest, in that game. And Ruben going back to that five at the back in that game, that's what really affected Manchester United fans. You cannot, against the worst team in Premier League history, go out defensively and play the way that we did. Ruben Amorim coming out and saying that we had control of the game, we was in control of the game. Now, my issue with this, and you all know going back to my problems with Erik ten Hag, and one thing I've defended Ruben on was, he always came out and said it as it was. He always told us what we were thinking. And that's why I always have time for Ruben Amorim. And I hope he looks back on what he said last night and then rethinks it again, because what he said last night on Manchester United controlling that game, not at one point were Man United in control of that game. Wolves were creating the better chances. Wolves had a better XG against Manchester United. Our goalkeeper was our star player last night at home against a team that's got 2 points halfway through a season. The worst team in the Premier League history. Not one win all season. And they were a better team. I don't care for players that were out injured. Wolves had injured players. Wolves have AFCON players. Manchester United had a few players out, yes, and that's fair enough to bring up that point. Ruben then going on and saying the fluidity of our game is the problem right now. We need to bring back our players. We need to bring back our AFCON players, our injured players, and we will be fine. Well, no, Ruben. What fans will then say is, well, you had your AFCON players and injured players against Everton. You had them against Brentford, against West Ham. against Bournemouth, against every other team that we've played against this season up until that Aston Villa game. We had them players there then, and it was the same result. It was the same thing. The same mentality block, players playing in this system and not being able to get the best out of them. This is what fans will come back and hit against Ruben Amorim. And where I understand what he's saying, and I would love to defend him, I can't defend that. And I'm not going to defend that. I'm just going to be right down the middle and say it as it is. We're missing players. It's difficult. But realistically, there was no excuses, apparently Ruben said. In one line, no excuses. In the other, we need our players back. You can see where I'm going and where I personally am concerned about what Ruben Amorim is saying now, because this is, like I said before, where I had the big problem with Erik ten Hag. If you own up to it and say that we were second best against the worst team in history in the Premier League, then you know what? I could sort of try and at least get behind it, and he's got a lot of work to do. But he's come out and said that we controlled the game and we were unlucky in that game. One corner we didn't defend, we didn't have the luck tonight. Sorry, mate. That's just not going to cut it. It isn't. And it's when people start talking afterwards, and that's what really affected me personally. In terms of the fans that were at the stadium last night, and let's get into that now as well, because I said it in the watch-along last night. I obviously wasn't at the game last night. I'm normally there. And then players were booed around the pitch. So I don't know why they do this. They should just walk off the pitch. But show appreciation for the fans. I get it. I do. I like the applause. You could call it, it's officially called a lap of honour. I mean, that is so far from the truth with this Man United side at the moment. I would say it was the, what else could you name that? It was a lap of boos is basically what it was. Manchester United fans booing them players around that pitch from start to finish tells you where these fans are at right now. They are unhappy and they have had enough. That's the general consensus I got from the opinions of fans last night. I had my rant, I had my rave, and you know what? There's a lot of my opinions that I've not even brought up yet in this show this morning. I am where I am, and you all know that I've backed Ruben Amorim, and I want him to succeed. I still want him to succeed at Manchester United, but I'm not going to defend what's happening there. I'm not going to defend that performance. I'm not going to defend Ruben Amorim and what he said. I'm not going to defend what he said about the formation. And when asked about the formation as well, going back, and this is, I'll just bring up a few of people's opinions, and these are well-known accounts online and what people are actually saying right now. This is the sort of thing that you're going to get from the Man United fan base right now. And this is what Ruben actually said, first of all, on substituting Joshua Zirkzee. A lot of people had a go at me last night for having a go at Joshua Zirkzee. How can you have a go at the player that has scored the goal? Well, Joshua Zirkzee deserved to be subbed off last night. He is offering us absolutely nothing, and I'll stick by that. I've got no agenda against him. I'm just going to say it as I see it, and Zirkzee is horrible. He walked around that pitch like he did against Newcastle. He tried to play an impossible ball that wasn't on. It ricocheted luckily for him. He hit an awful shot which got a deflection and bamboozled the goalkeeper and went in. That's all he did. He got the goal. And I know the goals are important and the results are all important, and that's why I was just happy that it went in last night, because I thought we would have been able to see out that game and actually keep a clean sheet against the worst team in Premier League history. I keep saying that because that does need to sink in with some United fans, because there are some today that are going in on people that have got a problem, and this fan base is way over the top. They're a disgrace. They deserve to be living through this disastrous period right now. Look, everyone's got their opinions, and you cannot tell a fan that he needs to be giving this manager time. You may think that that's okay, and that is fine as well, and that's your opinion. But you cannot be having a go at fans that are unhappy and have got real problems and issues with Ruben Amorim at the same time. It's both sides. We argue it and we debate it. We try to keep it civil, but at the moment I think it's impossible to. And this is where a lot of United fans are at right now. They know what they're seeing, and nothing that anybody telling them about Ruben Amorim and needing to keep with this manager and give him time is going to change their minds. They've seen enough, and that's them done. Leave them to it. It's okay. You know what? If Ruben turns it around, then you'll have your opportunity. But all I would say is don't try and convince somebody who was watching that last night that things are going to be okay. because the same problems are happening again. And this is what I mean by this point here about what Ruben Amorim was responding to Joshua Zirkzee coming off and his substitutes and the tactics. We were running around trying to get a hold of the ball, he told Sky. We were struggling with their midfielders, and sometimes you can attack better with less strikers. We played with these 3 strikers, and sometimes that's not the best thing to do well in attack. It's not the best thing to do. So responding to that, plenty of people, Man United Academy here was one of them as well. Tactically, you subbed on Fletcher instead of Shea Lacey or Chido Obe and played him as a right second striker, right midfield, right wing back, or whatever you call it in your disaster of a system. It wasn't tactical by any means possible, mate. Also, how do you even attack with fewer strikers? There's nothing tactically about that sub you made. Moron. And that's coming from a quite well-known account there, United Academy, MUFC Academy. And it's there for everybody to see. I'm not making this up. These are fans' opinions right now. This is what people are thinking of Manchester United. Ruben also goes on to say, Wolves, that is, had a lot of players in midfield. We did what we needed to do because we were struggling. With Jack Fletcher, we regained our balance. We won the ball back more quickly in the second half. I don't look at age or experience. I look at what I can do to win. You don't look at age or experience, but you have to in that moment, because as much as I don't like Joshua Zirkzee and his performances at the moment, he is a better option than Jack Fletcher right now. And what Ruben said there again, we did not gain control and balance back in the game at all. I don't know what he's talking about there. Wolves created more chances in the second half when you look at it on paper. And that alone there, for what Ruben said, in terms of bringing back the control when Jack Fletcher came on, Jack Fletcher was a lamb to the slaughter last night. I felt sorry for the lad. I did. He isn't clearly good enough. And that's me being honest with it, because everyone's seen it last night. Mantato and Jack Fletcher, when they came on, what were they expected to do? That was on Ruben Amorim. I don't look at age. I don't look at experience. I look at what I can do to win. And playing Jack Fletcher out of position in a formation that the rest of the team are still struggling with because you reverted back to it is not the right thing to do, Ruben. And that's not going to win you the game. Jack Fletcher has shown nothing that is going to convince this fan base he is going to change that game like Ruben Amorim said he would there. If anything, you've got someone you can cross the ball to who's physical enough to actually get something out of a situation like Zirkzee was. And again, I still thought he was right to bring Zirkzee off. But I agree with the point that United Academy is saying there in terms of why Jack Fletcher? Why are we going with another midfielder and playing him out of position when you could have easily played someone like Shea Lacey out wide there and gone to a 4-4-2 or something like that? Stick with the 4 at the back. Quizzed and quizzed and quizzed on why he's changed the formation back again. And he's actually looked at Wolves and said that that's why he's gone back to a 3 at the back, because of their midfield. You had Manuel Ugarte, you had Casemiro in there, in that midfield for Manchester United. You also had Joshua Zirkzee just sat in front of them. Matthias Cunha can tuck in there as well. Leacher was there and proved against Aston Villa that he could step into that midfield also. There is nothing in that midfield, which was missing Andre, by the way, who plays every game for Wolves, that you should be building your team around. The worst part about this as well, for me, in terms of how we are looking at this, and you look at it from the Wolves side of things. You look at it from what Wolves manager Rob Edwards said on this. Rob Edwards, the Wolves manager, when asked if he was surprised to see Manchester United return to a back 3 after using a back 4 on Boxing Day. No, I don't know how many games Ruben's managed, but I think he's overwhelmingly in favour of going with a back 3, so we went with that one. It was just easy to play against United, that's the problem. If United went with a back 4, could we have actually got more out of that game? I think we could have. It would have given us natural width. He swapped Dargu from having the best game in his Man United career on the right-hand side back to the left, where he struggled massively again. Very, very active and at it, and I can't really fault Dorgu's application at all in that game. I thought he tried his heart out, but again, he absolutely smashed it on the right-hand side, and cutting in seems to be natural to him and give him that better option, and Ruben played him on the other side again. He completely changed everything that worked well against Newcastle because it was Wolves, and I don't get why he would look at the opposition before looking at what he's got and playing his players in the best positions that suits them, go out to win the game. That, to me, wasn't Ruben going out and winning or trying to win the game. He was fearing. And look, I can understand a bit of fear because of the players that are missing. He was fearing what was coming. We all warned, and I said it before the game. I said, I'm scared here that Manchester United are going to struggle in this game. But the performance was beyond what I thought Manchester United could go to level-wise. It was so bad. And I thought we'd struggle because we were coming up against a Wolves side that was solid and we're going to be able to break down. I was thinking we're going into this game with a back four, going in there with that new lease of life, with players playing in better positions that suit them more. But no, he changed it all around again, and it was like going back to scratch again. It was like going back to where we were before. And that, again, I think is why there's so many of these Man United fans today that have just completely given up on Ruben Amorim. And look, I don't want to do poll. I've done a poll on the community section this morning just to see where everybody's at. That's there. Are you giving Amorim more time? Are you seeing enough in this team for Ruben to continue doing this? And are you giving him an excuse? Because he says there's no excuse, but then made one at the same time last night. And that, again, is concerning for me. It does seem like he's forgetting about everything else that's gone before. Like, forget about the last games. We've got to look at the next game. No, we can't forget about the last game because that's the last game that's really hampered us right now and why the players are not fully confident with the system that you're playing. And that's why the fans can't get on board with it, I think, as well. Look, he could go out against Leeds and win, and we're back to where we was before. United have lost, 2 games in 13. It doesn't look that bad. We're where we are in the league. We're still in there in the fight somehow. God knows how, but Man United are in there. I think the annoyance is that we cannot beat poor sides. And the Old Trafford crowd at the moment are being punished. And that's 1 win in 5 at Old Trafford now. And people will keep on bringing back the record for Manchester United and Ruben's record overall and using that against him. And that is overwhelmingly in favour of the people that really don't want to give Ruben a chance. This is where we're at right now. And I think this is the whole argument this morning. A few super chats coming in. I'm going to get into your comments now, everybody, so please do get in there. Let's get your thoughts in. Ant says, listen, Ruben screwed up with the formation and team selection, but it ain't all on him. Not one player gave more than 5 out of 10 last night, and that's on them. It is, but again, could Ruben Amorim have changed it for them players to play in a better position where they were getting 7s and 8s against Newcastle? Yeah, and that's the argument for people, I think, against Ruben Amorim. At home we are rubbish, says Ray. Definitely, Ray. Thanks for that. The membership renewal. Roz says some of these players are playing the play poorly, make a manager look bad. Outlast manager card. Need to end these cycles. Maybe who would that be, Roz? In your opinion, give me some names on them players, buddy. Desing with the super chat. Thank you very much, mate. Amorim is a narcissist. He is forcing his system on us. Why change Dorgu from right wing? Why change the back four? Why go backwards? The reason? Ego. Keep up the great work, Adam. Hoping for better days. Thank you, Brett. A lot of people will be unhappy with, let's just say, the titling and the thumbnailing of this video. It's doom and gloom again as one bad result. I'm reacting to how everyone else is. I'm still quite open to the idea that things could change. I am in more hope than anything else. Do I think it's going to work for Ruben Amorim? No, I don't. Do I want it to? Yes. Yes. So much, yes, I do. But I'm not going to defend these moments. And again, I don't think it's changing your mind. I don't think it's flip-flopping. I think it is gauging what happened last night in a really bad performance. And we're talking about it the next day as a fan base really confused right now. There is some good that has gone before, and there is some bad that's gone before. And I said it last night. The one-liner said, Man United, if that Dorgu goal goes in, are sat fourth in the table right now. That Dorgu goal is allowed. He's onside. United are fourth. That's how different this is. That's how fine-margined this is right now with Manchester United. Fourth was there for United, and we didn't take it. And because of last night's performance, Man United, some Man United fans will say, it was always going to be a hard game. Why are we overreacting? Or why are fans going over the top on this? Well, you look at what Ruben said last night. We need to get the fluidity back, and we need to get our players back. It will be better. It will be okay. We had our players for Everton. We had our players for West Ham, for Bournemouth, for Brentford. We had them all there. And they played the same way they did last night against a very, very poor Wolves side who were also missing key players. That's why United fans are upset. And to ask a United fan to stay calm after watching that last night is wrong. It's completely wrong. I don't think you can. I don't think you're allowed to. Everyone's allowed their own opinion. I think you have to respect that. But there's too many things that have gone wrong under Ruben Amorim for everybody to just say, look, we need to be calm and give him a chance. We're doing better. Everyone's giving an opinion on a really bad performance last night. And it's overwhelmingly going down the negative road because of what's happened before. And you can't tell people that that is wrong. It was bad. Simple as. Let's get some more comments in. I'm just going to randomly run through as many. There is loads in here as well. Pick out some points from this. Mark Ash says, Xerxes was trash. That's why he was subbed. He scored a goal. So that excuses the performance. Come on. ATKO says, Dorgu is yet another athlete without guile. He hits a worldy one off, but passed 2 short passes to the guy's neck. Shaw deserves better. He busts his balls to overlap. He has top techers and vision wasted. Not playing Shea Lacey was mind-boggling. Amorim definitely has his favourites. We are seeing nepotism at play. Thomas says, it's time to get rid of him because we be out of Europe again if we don't. His system is not good because he can't win a few games, then lose a few games. Jonathan also says, Sesko isn't giving us anything at the moment. At least Rasmus had some fights. I hope he kicks on, but not convinced. I think like Sesko works hard. He works really hard. And I think he does offer more than Rasmus Højlund in this United side. Yes, albeit he has got better players around him, and that might cover it up a little bit, but he needs to start scoring goals. Sesko's going to be judged on his goals, and I'm starting to get concerned with him now. He had 6 attempts last night. He's got to be putting one in the back of the net. He has to do that. He had chances, and there were some clear chances for him as well. He's supposed to be good in the air. This is what he was brought in for, that presence. He had so many headers last night as well, straight at the goalkeeper. One off the post. It's just not convincing enough. Them rockets, them shots that we were watching, that absolute cannon that he's got, I've not seen it once in a United shirt. I don't know what it is. And that United disease seems to be taking over Rasmus at the moment. Sorry, taking over Sesko at the moment. But things can change very quickly. One goal goes in and it all changes. But I'll go back to it again before we move on with more of the comments. The thing that hurt Manchester United fans the most, and this is how I'm taking it from what I've read and what people have said. The one thing that doesn't convince Manchester United, they've seen all of the good and they've accepted it. But that came with Ruben Amorim changing his system and seeing a lot more positivity around Manchester United. For him to go back to his old system and it failed miserably last night, that's why fans are not convinced by Ruben Amorim. That's why fans are struggling to come to terms with him at the moment. And that's going to be the overwhelming factor in all of this. It is. I'm going to read some more comments out from journalists last night that were actually at the game as well. Laurie Whitwell first. Before I do that, though, happy birthday to Sir Alex Ferguson today, the legend. And happy birthday to R. Miller, who took my ticket last night, thankfully, and stopped me from enjoying that at Old Trafford. Gaz went with Millie last night. Millie's birthday today in our household. Happy birthday, Millie. Hopefully you can forget about last night's performance and enjoy your day, which I'm sure she will. And I'm sure Sir Alex Ferguson won't be wanting to talk much about that performance last night. But yes, have a good one, Mill. And of course, Sir Alex, again, got to mention the main man. In times of struggles and what Manchester United are putting out on the pitch, hard to think back to them glory days. It really is. Xerxes and what Laurie Whitwell said last night, who was at the game. Taking off Xerxes at half-time for tactical reasons is quite astounding. United needed more players in the box to unsettle Wolves. Look at how Dorgu's disallowed goal came. That sub plus reverting to a back three. Big questions for Amorim. This, again, is what all of the journalists are saying. It will be the pressure from the journalists that get Ruben Amorim in trouble. It will be. It's always going to be the case, but with Ruben. I mean, Henry Winter said last night, this Manchester United fan base have been patient enough with Ruben Amorim. This was a bad, bad night for Manchester United. And Ruben's time is running out, basically is what he's saying. Simon Stone from the BBC. Rob Edwards said Wolves spoke at half-time about playing on the crowd negativity at Old Trafford. And that's what they did. They knew how to play against Manchester United. They knew that this crowd would turn. And they played it perfectly. I said in my review last night, it was easy for Wolves last night. Because, like many people have been saying there, no one else stepped up. No one actually in this team has got it in them to take the game by the scruff of the neck. Mark Cunha out of the game and Manchester United had done. That was the tactics last night. They knew it was an experienced referee who was poor last night. And they just kicked him. They kicked 7 lumps of crap out of him last night and got away with it. Not one yellow card for a foul on Matthias Cunha last night. Absolutely battered. No protection from the referee. And Wolves played a blinder. Well done, Rob Edwards. Well done, is what I'll say. I don't want to make it sound like it's all just Man United, but like what Simon Stone said there, this was a easy target for Wolves. It was a dead carcass and Wolves went and feasted on Manchester United. It was too easy to play against us and get a point. And that is their big moment in their season. Finishing 2025, not being able to beat the worst team in Premier League history sums up Man United's 2025. And that, I think, is where a lot of United fans right now are struggling. And I do think that that's why many haven't got any time at all for Ruben Amorim right now. I'm just getting up another one here. This was like what Carl Anker put out from The Athletic night. Can't find it. But he was going through the actual record of Manchester United in terms of this season, 2025, and United's record. This is where I think fans have got the problem. It is. Greg in the chat there says, fans' opinions are literally irrelevant. Fans' opinions really are just that, opinions. We all have our own and we don't agree with everybody's. But you know what you're watching on the pitch and you know that inside, even if you're trying to be positive and back what's happening, you are concerned about what's happening on that pitch there. Aidan Heaven's numbers against Wolves last night. Someone has put them out this morning as well. I think this is to try and go against Ruben Amorim again in terms of why Yoro came on the pitch. I don't know why he brought Yoro on. I don't know why Heaven needed to come off. That substitute was not making any difference to the game and wouldn't have got Manchester United a goal. It goes back to what Ruben says. I don't look at age. I don't look at experience. I look at what I can do to change the game and get the win. Substituting a centre-back for a centre-back is not going to get you a win. Bringing Shea Lacey on in his natural position out wide might give you something different. Bringing Chido Obi on, who's got more experience than every single one of them academy players on the bench last night, would have definitely give Wolves something to think about because he's a number 9, a striker, a fox in the box. And when it comes down to not being able to break a team down, but you're putting crosses into the box, strikers' instincts do come into it. It's like what Laurie Whitwell said there. If you're bringing Xerxes off because you were losing a midfield battle, I mean, Manchester United had more possession in that first half. We just couldn't do anything with it. We weren't clinical enough. And chances are what's going to change the tempo of games, putting them chances away. It's mind-boggling. It is pass accuracy for Aidan Heaven last night. Do you know what? It don't even matter. Forget it. It's just the fact that Ruben has said that he made changes to change the game Didn't matter about who it was, what age or experience level they've got. He did it to change the game, but then you're bringing a centre-back on for a centre-back. That's not going to change the momentum or the way that game's going, Ruben. And that, again, is why fans would look at what you said and go, why are you talking complete and utter nonsense? This is where fans are being, this is where fans are concerned, but this is where fans are being convinced that he is up against it now and he is sinking. Again, as soon as you start talking like that, you're never going to convince the fans that you have got control of what's happening. 22 shots, -2 goals for 75 million quid. What the actual F? That's being Benjamin Sesko. Last time Sesko scored was against Sunderland, and that was back in October, wasn't it? So October. Goals are what's going to hurt Benjamin Sesko. Thanks for the super chat on that, Ants. Let's get a few more of your comments in as well, everybody. Pile in there, please. I'm going to try and pick out some different ones. There's a lot of people that don't agree with what I'm saying, and there's a lot of people that think this is being too negative. I get it, I do, but it's just facts, isn't it? It's just worrying. Let's see what we've got. Gomez was the player that stood out last night. Calm, accurate passing, and kept Wolves together. Shows you have done it. Like that, Wolves were missing Gomez in that first game, and United ran through them. Gomez back in this game. I know we're missing a few key players from the last time we played Wolves, but still, it wasn't good enough, was it, for Manchester United? And it was easy for Gomez in that midfield. I thought Wolves found it really easy against United last night, which is also concerning. I still back the manager. I have got my reasons. We can't keep going back when we lose and draw a game. We know the issues the manager is sitting with. We knew this. We knew this may happen. Yeah, you could say that. You could say that. I get what you're saying there. We can't keep going backwards after we have a defeat. I mean, you look at Manchester United's form. We're not winning games. That's the problem now. We could back this up and say that things are getting better, and I still, for the life of me, cannot believe we're still in the mix within. But if we don't win these games now in January, we'll plummet. You've got City and Arsenal coming up. Leeds and Burnley are must-wins to keep our head above water right now. Because playing the way we have like this against the likes of Arsenal, which we're going to lose, I think. There's no way that we can beat that team and that quality. And the way City are playing at the moment, if City come to town and do the double over us and we lose to Arsenal and we haven't beaten Burnley and Leeds, I think even the most hardened Ruben Amorim supporters by the end of this month are really going to be down around his throat. If he loses to Brighton in the FA Cup, God help him. Honestly, it won't. Greg says, I don't mean to devalue fans, but they really don't matter when it comes to decision-making with Ruben Amorim. No, Ruben's not going to get sacked. He's not going to get sacked. Greg's right. He's not. Ineos will look at that table, and on paper, Ruben Amorim is doing a good job. Still in the mix. He's still literally level on points with teams in the Champions League places. What's everybody complaining about? No. And do you know what? If we had European football, we might be able to get over the fact that we are putting so much pressure on these Premier League games. And there's so much riding on them because it's the only football that we've got. That alone should tell Manchester United that we need to make sure we get European football this season. I don't think Ruben's going to go yet. The questions are going to keep on being asked, of course. Do I feel comfortable and confident with Ruben at the moment? No, I don't. No, I don't. Do I think Ineos are going to sack him? No, I don't think they will. And then people will move the argument across to Ineos, I think, as well. Ruben needs money spent on him in January or we're in trouble. Because now looking at that and what he did with that formation again scares the hell out of me. That's why the title is what it is. That's why the thumbnail is what it is. It's not about what's happened before. It's about the fact that we had turned the corner and looked really good. Against Aston Villa, against Newcastle, we looked solid. We looked like we were compact. Even against Bournemouth, to a certain degree, Manchester United playing with that back four and then players pushing forward and it looking fluid, like Ruben says, fluid. That was everything. And we're like, okay, we can survive this season if we stick to a 4-3-3, a 4-2-3-1. We actually set the team up last night as a 4-2-3-1 on our graphics, and everybody else was looking at it as a 4-2-3-1. Only Ruben seen that team lineup as a 3-4-3. With Dorgu back on the other side again. Only Ruben seen that. And that's why United fans have gone off their heads last night. It's because he went back to what wasn't working, because in their eyes of his stubbornness, instead of going with what really did work. So fans clinging on to the hope that something was going to change is all good and well. But Ruben, the manager, has gone back to what wasn't working and confused the hell out of the players, and we've just allowed Wolves to take a point at Old Trafford. That's why fans are concerned. It's the fact that he is so stubborn, and Rob Edwards could read him like a book and what he was going to do last night, that the fans don't have confidence in him. He's always going to go back to that three at the back if he can. And last night, he didn't have the players to do it. He didn't. He had everything set up there perfectly for the 4-3-3. He could have even pushed Leacher into midfield if he wanted to, and pushed Casemiro forward more as not more of an 8, and put Yoro at the back if he wanted to. But no. He didn't make the attacking changes that the fan base thought he should have done. And that's where we're at. That's why we're talking the way we are this morning. United need to beat Leeds and need to beat Burnley, and it will spin again the other way. But the big concern is what he does after that again. Is he going to keep on going back? It quite clearly doesn't work with these players. And now we're just going to allow Ruben Amorim to do what he wants for the rest of this season, and maybe throw an opportunity away here, because the league is there and it's there for the taking. And I keep saying this. He needs to make a decision on what he wants to do this season. I don't think it's the season to chop and change and keep going back to different formations. I don't think that's going to work for him. Cal says, we all forget we got lucky versus Newcastle. His subs in that game were horrific as well. They were. I did pull him on that, and a lot of people attacked me because we won the game. But that really concerned me as well. It's so frustrating to watch him do these substitutions. I just don't get why he does it. There is no explanation for it, and that's the hard bit to take. There is no reason for it. The issue is the old guard are in fundamental positions in the team. It all goes back to midfield, as it always will. That from Ants. McForty says, the Bournemouth game was a poor advert for the Premier League as well. Again, both teams were poor. Attacking-wise, it was good. It was a good game. I mean, the entertainment value was there for the Premier League at least, but I get what you're saying. Defensively, absolutely shocking. Let's see what else we've got here in the comments section as well. Lots of people having their say on the midfield problem, and that clearly being Manchester United's Achilles heel constantly, and it's not been addressed. And that is going to come back to haunt Ineos this season. Cunha is a disgrace. He's selfish and could barely short pass, and Ineos are a nasty piece of work for letting him stay in a job. Kind of random there, to be honest. Got no issue with Cunha. I thought he got battered last night. At least he was trying to do something different. I can see United beating an informed Leeds, and despite Burnley's loss yesterday, they actually deserve at least a draw against Newcastle last night. It'll be that, won't it? They'll probably beat Leeds and then probably draw with Burnley or lose to Burnley, and we're back again. Then we've got the FA Cup. Hopefully we win that, so that should be enough. I think the FA Cup is going to play a massive part in Ruben Amorim's future as well, you know. I actually do think that there's no excuse for Man United to be out of the FA Cup, by the way. They have to beat Brighton in the FA Cup. Otherwise, it is going to go off in the fan base. I was Amorim in, but after last night, I'm done. Going back to a system that don't work. He's so stubborn. He needs to go now. And why does he still take off central defenders, beat brave, put forwards on, says Stevie. Amorim needs to go. Bring in a manager that can coach. We need a manager that plays with wingers. Get our Manchester United back. Stop bringing in foreign managers that only win in subpar leagues. So foreign managers from the Premier League are all right then. Just To clarify, Ian, that's all, mate. I'm not having a go at you there, by the way. I'm just managers from subpar leagues. I get the point there, but again, there's no guarantee the next manager is going to be the right fit for Manchester United either. There is a lot that's going to come down to the ownership here of Manchester United as well. And I think the spotlight is going to start moving towards Ineos more soon than it is on Amorim. I can feel that coming anyway. The lack of games is an additional pressure that I think this fan base is struggling with. Too much pressure on each game for people, I think. I said that a minute ago, Greg. The pressure of Premier League games only being what we've got this season is really, really mounting up the intensity on each game. You're definitely right in that. I feel that as well. The build-up to every game is bigger. It's like a lot more riding on every single game because it's our only game. And the players are struggling with it. I actually thought, and it's come back against what I said. There's still a part of me that says United should finish top 4 because we haven't got the games and everyone can rest. But having less games for Man United has really worked against us. We've not been able to take advantage of that situation once this season. The fact that Wolves still have AFCON players out, have injured players out, and have a day less to prepare for a game at Old Trafford than Manchester United, it is disgraceful. It is. There's no excuse for that either. Dirk looks a scapegoat last night. I can't believe Amorim puts him on the bench. Unforgivable. No, I can forgive him for that because Dirk was a clown. He was absolutely useless, and I think his head is well and truly out with his football club. I don't think Ruben really wanted to play him there. He just doesn't give you enough. He don't give you enough energy. That's it. And I think Xerxes is the obvious one to go to in Ruben's tactics, I think, after last night. But it was worse than Xerxes. I mean, you bring Xerxes off, you put on someone who's actually going to do a job for you in a certain position. He said it was tactical, but then he played a player out of position that's got no experience, that isn't fully developed, and it made no sense at all. Like Emmanuel there says, bring in Fletcher on and leave Obi and Lacey on. Leave Obi and Lacey out. No excuses. We'd have drawn that game with Ahmad and Mbumo playing. Mentality is rubbish. Again, that's like going back to the West Ham performance, isn't it? You had Ahmad, you had Mbumo, Cunha, you had all of these players available, and you still didn't get that win. The amount of points Manchester United have thrown away from winning positions now is right up there. It is mounting and mounting and mounting now. You think about it. You go into them games, you look at the West Ham game, the Bournemouth game, the Spurs game, the Forest game, the Wolves game here as well. It's starting to spiral out of control. At the end of the day, everyone, we don't want to be talking negative. We don't want to be going in on this and saying these things and talking down managers and hoping that managers get sacked. No one wants to be talking like this. And it is a difficult conversation to have. And I think we're going to have a lot more of them this season. We just have to be honest with how we feel. And right now, I think there's just a lot of people that are feeling fed up and they're out of energy for the manager, I think. I think they've given up because they keep seeing the same things. And that's what keeps coming through here. I can see it last night. I can see it today in the chat. There's lots of people that just not there. They're not convinced. Kevin says, Amorim out now. Cheese Ferretti. Cheese Ferret. I'm trying to read that YouTube name there. Sorry. Do you think we should just let Amorim walk if he is so stubborn on insisting his 3-4-3 would work in these desperate times instead of adapting like previous matches which worked? I don't think he wants to walk. That's the problem. United is officially the joint worst side in the history of the Premier League this season. Embarrassing. Say that again. United is officially the joint worst side in the history of the Premier League this season. Sorry, I think that meant to say United drew with the worst side in Premier League history. Yeah, that's what it was. Fact is, we haven't had a run yet. We're good enough to beat any team in the Prem on our day. We're in a great spot. If we do go on a run and if we don't, we are in an okay spot. The thing is, Greg, eventually it'll come down to a point where the players start getting used to not going on a run or not feeling like they can have that run of games and win them. And we're never going to move anywhere. Being where we are in the league is not okay unless we finish there. And at the moment, we're looking at the possibilities of other teams picking up form, like Liverpool. Might not be playing well, but they're getting the results. Obviously, Villa's run has put us under pressure now as well. If Chelsea start hitting their form as well, then we're going to be moved out again. And then all of a sudden, someone could come up from the pack again. Like Newcastle could go on a mount a charge behind us. And if United miss out on Europe, then that's where the United fans are probably going to say, well, why didn't you get rid of Ruben Amorim when you had the chance? Where we at, Reds, is the poll that's running right now. Amorim in or Amorim out? Just look, I'm not trying to push the agenda or anything like that. I'm just asking people where they're at, because I sat there last night like most Man United fans, and I'm just like, I'm lost. I feel lost with this team. I need to listen to other people talk. I need to see some other opinions. I need the Manchester United community to bail me out here, because I'm at a complete loss. I know my mind and I know where I'm thinking and I know what's happening at this club right now, and there's a lot going on. But it is so up and down at the moment that you cannot grab a hold of anything. We're trying to push Ruben forward. It's like that whole Jerry Maguire situation, isn't it? For Ruben, we want him to do well. It's like that line, help me, help you. I think I said it in the watch-along last night. Help me, help you. Stop making these changes. Stop changing the system. I want to back him so much, but I ain't backing him for last night. There's not a chance. There's not a chance. And you are allowed, by the way, to actually have an opinion on a certain game that is different to the previous one, going off how that game went. And by that, I mean people calling out Man United fans because they're angry about what happened last night. You can't do that. Can't do that. You're allowed to be angry and fed up and be really annoyed with this manager. That's fine. And that's where everyone should be. It's fans that try to defend that performance last night that I've got a bit of a problem with. There is no defence in that performance last night. And that obviously brings up the conversation about the season that's gone by and everything else that's gone wrong. Because automatically, when you have a bad game, you think back to the bad games. If you win a game, you think back to the positives. We did this in this game, and this was similar to this game, and this is what's working. And you get a little bit of confidence in yourself, and you think, that could work. And that's where we were. We've seen the performance against Villa, lost that game, should have won it. We've seen the performance against Newcastle, dug in, had to dig in, really short on players. Great defensive performance and still created the better chances in that game. That was what we were clinging on to. The fact that we scored 4 goals again against Bournemouth. Yes, the defence had a meltdown. It was one of them games. We were seeing a lot of positives in this 4 at the back formation that he was bringing in. And then he went and completely shot everybody down last night, Ruben Amorim, while playing that same 3 at the back system. And that is the reason why this Man United fan base turned on Ruben last night. It is, and them substitutes as well. In terms of the transfer news, you can see there as well the news on Rasmus Højlund leaving in the summer for Napoli. That deal is done. Manchester United will get considerable amount of money. Also, last night before the game started, there was a very, very respectable journalist in Turkey that came out and said Galatasaray have made significant progress on a transfer for Manuel Ugarte. I don't know how this is even going to happen in January. There's something going to be happening crazy behind the scenes that we don't know about for all this to come about. And Man United are going to turn this January transfer window into something crazy that we've not seen before. I've got no idea. But at the moment, United can't afford to lose Manuel Ugarte. So where this story is relevant and it is important to bring up, I just don't see how Ugarte leaves Manchester United. Xerxes not going to leave Man United either. Mainu's not going to leave Manchester United. Why? Because we cannot leave ourselves short. We've seen what we've got in the academy. We've seen the players that Manchester United have brought through, and they're not good enough yet. They're not there yet. It's not fair. So if anyone's going to leave, someone else needs to come in. And that's where we're at now. Ruben needs to keep that formation at 4 at the back. Otherwise, he's not going to survive. I think these are the facts, and this is clear for everybody to see now. It's not going to happen. We will be better with our players back from AFCON. We will be better with injured players back. I think the whole thing about keeping Bruno Fernandes out the side has been shot down completely now. After that last night, nobody with any sort of nous or anything about them in that team could manage to grab that game last night and be a leader. I think it's been put to bed regarding the Bruno Fernandes. I think Manchester United will be looking to try and get Bruno back for the Leeds game. Just saying. Romano's come out and said, I believe Kobbie Mainoo could possibly be available as early as the next match against Leeds. So, yeah, Kobbie Mainoo has got a chance to come back for Manchester United, it would seem now. Look, at the moment, we need someone with something a bit different. And Kobbie Mainoo is going to feature for Manchester United. Whether we think it's right or wrong and what's happened with him behind the scenes, he's going to be in that side. And we need something different. Struggling right now. I am, honestly. Please pop a like on the video, everybody, as well. I know it's not an easy conversation, but I appreciate you all being here on the chat. We will help each other out, I think, in this. Difficult to analyse such a poor performance and try and pick out positives. There are none, and we just have to accept it. We have to move forward to the next game and hope that that's different. And that's not enough for some fans, and that's totally fine. And that is where we're at right now. I think Manchester United against Leeds on Sunday. I'm going to be completely honest. I'm really worried. I'm worried for Ruben Amorim on Sunday because if you lose to Leeds, having not beaten Wolves, Man United will officially drop down to mid-table if we lose to Leeds at weekend because of all the other games. He's in trouble. He's in trouble at that point. And this is what I've said before. January is massive, absolutely huge for Manchester United. We could have gone into that with a good win against Wolves. Yeah, no one was looking for an outstanding performance, but just get 3 points. We couldn't manage that. So we're going in on a negative. We now need to beat Leeds and Burnley and Brighton in the FA Cup before we head into the games against Man City and Arsenal. If we don't, then I think January could be a impossible month for Ruben to come back from. We have got, I think it's 6 games in January, including Fulham, I think, at Old Trafford as well, right at the end of the month. He has to get at least 9 points out of this month and still be in the FA Cup. Otherwise, I think he's in big trouble. But that's like we've said before, by then, the actual transfer window was shut also, and there's nothing more we can do. That's a concern also, isn't it? Look, I'll wrap things up there, everybody. I will be back later with all of the news and updates as they come out of Old Trafford. Please make sure you get your comments in below, everybody, on this one. And, of course, make sure that you do pop a like on the video and hit that subscribe button as well. My match vlog from last night and my instant reaction is there on the channel. Go watch that back again. And my initial thoughts after the game had finished. Painful, very, very painful to take last night. But we move on again. Give me your thoughts, and I will see you all later on, everybody. Have a good day, as good as it can be. Enjoy New Year's Eve and whatever you're up to tonight. I'll catch you